All right, so you've almost definitely used ChatGPT, maybe to help with an email, kick around some ideas, or, let's be honest, just to see what it says. But have you ever stopped and wondered what's actually going on inside that little chat window? Well, today we're popping the hood to see how the magic really happens. So let's just get right to the big question. You type in a sentence, and a second later you get this shockingly human-like response. How does it do that? How does it think? That's exactly what we're going to break down, piece by piece. Okay, let's dive in. And the first thing you have to know is that ChatGPT isn't magic. I know, it really feels like it sometimes, right? But it's a machine. A machine built on a very specific and frankly brilliant piece of engineering. It's actually part of a pretty famous AI family. And that family's name is GPT, which stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. Let's break that down. Generative is easy. It generates new stuff, in this case, text. Pre-trained means it's already done its homework by learning from a mind-boggling amount of text. And Transformer, well, that's the secret sauce. That's the revolutionary architecture that makes this all work. The model we know as ChatGPT is a version of GPT 3.5. So let's talk more about that transformer blueprint, because this is the real game changer. This idea completely flipped the world of AI on its head. And it all started with a simple but super powerful concept. Attention is all you need. And no, that's not just a cool phrase. It's the actual title of a groundbreaking research paper from 2017. This paper introduced the transformer model to the world, and it totally changed how machines could process language, all thanks to a new mechanism called attention. See, before transformers, older models had to read text just like we do, one word at a time, in order. The problem is, they'd often forget what was said at the beginning of a long paragraph. But transformers, they're different. They can look at every single word in a sentence all at the same time. This parallel processing means they get the entire picture, understanding the relationships between words no matter how far apart they are. And once this idea was out, things started moving fast. I mean, really fast. In 2018, GPT-1 was a proof of concept. Just a year later, GPT-2 was writing whole paragraphs that made sense. But the seismic shift came in 2020 with GPT-3, which eventually led to the GPT 3.5 that powers ChatGPT today. The key to this rapid evolution? One word: scale. So let's talk about that scale. The first model, GPT-1, was built with 117 million parameters. You can think of parameters as the knobs and dials the model tunes to learn things. 117 million sounds like a lot, right? Well, just 1 year later, GPT-2 came out with 1.5 billion parameters. That's more than a tenfold jump. And the results were way more sophisticated, much more coherent. And then came the truly giant leap. GPT-3 exploded onto the scene with a staggering 175 billion parameters. And here's the key. This insane scale didn't just make it a little better, it unlocked entirely new abilities. The model started doing things it was never explicitly trained for. It was so big it just got smarter in surprising ways. So we know the blueprint is the transformer, and we know that massive scale is the secret ingredient. But what's actually inside the box? What are the gears and levers that are actually doing the work? Let's take a look. At its core, the whole thing is built from two main components. You have these things called transformer blocks. Think of them like Lego bricks, stacked one on top of the other. And then you have a really clever system called positional encoding. So inside each one of those transformer blocks, a little two-step process happens. First up is the multi-head self-attention layer. It's a mouthful, I know, but it's basically where the model looks at all the words in a sentence and decides which other words are most important for understanding its meaning, kind of like highlighting the key phrases in a textbook. Then, all that highlighted info goes to a feed-forward network. This is like the student sitting back and really thinking about those highlighted parts to understand the deeper meaning. But hang on, remember we said transformers look at all the words at once? That creates a big problem. How does it know the order? The dog bit the man is very different from the man bit the dog. This is where that second component, positional encoding, saves the day. It's a super clever fix. Before words even enter the system, they get a little piece of information added to them about their position in the sentence. It gives the model the sense of grammar and structure that it absolutely needs. So, we have the architecture, we have the parts, but how does this thing get so smart? Well, a model isn't just built, it has to be trained. And this happens in a very deliberate two-phase process.
First, there's pre-training. This is where the model is basically let loose on a huge chunk of the public internet. Books, articles, websites, you name it. Its only job is to do one simple thing, over and over: predict the next word in a sentence. This is how it learns grammar, facts, and even some reasoning. It's like reading the entire Library of Alexandria, but for the internet. Then comes the fine-tuning stage. This is less like reading a library and more like getting one-on-one tutoring on how to be a helpful and harmless assistant.
And that fine-tuning phase has a secret weapon. This is what really makes ChatGPT feel so aligned with what we actually want from it. It's the human in the loop. This special technique is called reinforcement learning from human feedback, or RLHF for short. It's a really smart way to teach the AI what humans prefer. So instead of just telling the AI if an answer is right or wrong, we show it what's better. Human reviewers look at several different answers to the same question and rank them from best to worst. It works in 3 steps. First, like we said, humans rank a bunch of different responses. Second, all of that ranking data is used to train a separate AI called a reward model. Its only job is to get really good at predicting which answers a human will like the most. And then finally, the main ChatGPT model is trained again, but this time its goal is to get the highest possible score from that reward model. It's literally training itself to be more pleasing to us. And this is a huge deal. RLHF is what steers the model toward being helpful and harmless. It's what makes the conversations flow better. It dramatically reduces the chance that it'll say something inappropriate or unsafe. And it creates this amazing feedback loop where the more it's used, the better it can get. So let's bring this all home. What we're looking at here isn't just one single breakthrough. It's a whole stack of powerful ideas, each one built on the one before it. When you put it all together, it's this amazing recipe. You've got the raw horsepower of the transformer architecture, seeing the whole picture. You've got the focus of the attention mechanism, letting it know what's important. You pour in the fuel, which is all that broad knowledge from its massive pre-training. And then you give it a steering wheel and a conscience through the guidance of human feedback. Understanding the how is just the beginning. It takes us from seeing ChatGPT as some kind of magical black box to seeing it for what it is, an incredibly powerful and complex tool. And that leaves us with the most important question of all. Now that we understand how this tool is built, what are the most creative, responsible,